All right, all right. Hey, blast that theme music real quick.
There's no shortcut home.
No shortcuts home. All right, welcome, welcome, welcome to another wonderful week with the Urban Impact Economic Development Department. My name is Khalil Vester, your business education person, and
I am Andre, and I am delighted and excited to see your lovely faces digitally. See, I have to imagine what your faces look like because every time you do this, you're shooting it out into the World Wide Web, the internet, right? And as you go out on the internets, your desire is that you would reach the desired audience. And we hope that's our community. We want you to be encouraged, inspired, exhorted, educated, edutained, right? You see what I did there? Education and entertainment fused together, edutained.
Yes. So actually, usually you have, before we get into the topic of today, which is how to bounce back from disappointment. All right, we're going to talk about how to bounce back from disappointment.
Super important.
Very, very excited about this topic today because it's real. Like, sometimes it's fun to look at how to make more money and how to optimize your marketing and other great things like that. But real talk, we don't live in a highlight reel 24/7. All right, there are low lights, there are dark moments, dark places in our lives, in our business, the things that you don't want to talk about, the struggle behind the scenes that isn't popular, but it's experienced by everybody.
Absolutely.
And we need to talk about it because if in this journey of entrepreneurship and being an impact owner, you know what I'm saying? If you're out here to at least, kill it, you're going to have those moments. So we got to talk about it. Like we've talked about a lot of great topics, but I'm really excited about talking about this one today.
This is super important. I want to start off with a little something light yet also peculiar. So I don't know if people follow sports. I'm not a big sports fan as much as I was before. It just takes a lot of time to keep up with everything. My wife constantly has different sports on. I mean, right now she's doing the US Open. Before that, it was track. And I come in and see what I can when I can see it.
Yeah.
But of course, I'd have to be living under a rock to not be hearing about Mr. Deion Sanders and what he is doing over in Colorado. Before that, he was in Jackson State.
Yep.
But one of the things with the upset is I'm curious about headlines. So I'll put his name in the search engine just to see what news headlines come up. And one of the headlines I saw was, why is Deion Sanders on TV so much? And how he didn't invent college football, but he exploited it, and things of this nature where people seem to be some people, and I mean some people have, a lot of people apparently do enjoy what he's doing in sports and college athletics, yet some are talking about this prime effect and how they see it as negative because the price of tickets have now gone up, and a team that nobody was really checking for, now everybody's looking at them and they want to be there, and they're regular games that would be so-called teams that nobody was favored to see are now being packed out. And I wanted to question that for us as business owners, is that what effect do you have that this man has obviously over time? I saw him in a short interview. I saw like a 6-minute interview excerpt, and he was talking about how they said, man, you were prime time and the Hollywood and the chains and the this and that. And he said, that's a persona I created. He says, my gift is marketing, and I'm a master marketer. I know how to market. And this is important, is marketing your business. How are you making yourself memorable? How are you standing out? How are you revealing to people the thing that they actually need, but they didn't know that they needed? You're putting it in front of them. That's what good marketing is it's helping people see what it is that they want, right? Absolutely. It's putting it in front of them. It's not you convincing, it's you persuading. It's me persuading. It's me having a conversation that, man, this is answering the question that I was asking, right? So that's a good marketer, is that, man, this is why this story is compelling with what's happening in the lives of these young men. When he talked about He said, hey, 90, whatever, some high percentage of you will never go to the NFL. So therefore, I need you to get not only a college degree, but I need you to get skills so that they can go out and make a change and that they can be productive citizens in society, right? So in your business, how are you clearly causing for yourself to stand out to the market? How are you standing apart from those that are, all the noise, right? So they say, there's the noise and then there's the signal. How are you the signal that's in the midst of the noise that people can hear clarity and they can come and they can get, clarity, they can get to where they need to get. Mr. Jalil, I know he has some on this because he is probably much more of a sports guy than I am. So what do you know about Coach Prime and the effect? And then we'll jump into our disappointment.
Prime effect is huge. So, I mean, I've been following his journey for a minute now, and to see what he did at Jackson State, really, they took a big L in essentially they wanted a bigger piece of the pie than they needed to really try to negotiate for. And there were some other ego plays involved, which eventually resulted in Dion needing to leave that organization. And quite frankly, the crowds left with him to Denver.
Wow.
To Denver. So and now he's doing it. I mean, there was people, of course, everyone would speculate like, oh, okay, well, Jackson State, HBCU, like this is a different league.
Market, yeah,
you know what I'm saying? League. So of course you can pull all this talent and absolutely dominate. Take them to the championships 2 years in a row and kill people. You know what I'm saying? But so now it's really an opportunity for him to do it at a bigger stage.
Yes.
At a bigger level, for an opportunity for his sons to play at a higher level as well, which is also cool. But I just pulled up some stats here. So let's see here.
He's looking up the.
I'm looking up the prime effect this is for Jackson State. So of course the story is still being written on the school in Denver, but right here, 4 home games, approximately $16.2 million in revenue was generated for Jackson businesses.
Wow.
A drastic increase from $7.2 million in 2017.
Wow.
All right, 2022 SWAC football championship, approximately $8 million in revenue generated. The dude is a beast in marketing. And the cool thing is he's employed his oldest son. So his oldest son doesn't play football like the younger sons do, but his oldest son is a marketing savant. He's got his own clothing brand. He's into the rapping thing. But the biggest thing that he does is he follows his dad around and captures content. And he's the one behind their Instagram, finding the clips, capturing parts of it, and then posting it out, engaging with people. So his oldest son is industrious, and they're all part of the business. Wow. Actually, and I saw all of them on a commercial. He got him and his kids, his sons and his daughters.
Wow.
On a commercial.
Wow.
And I think I forgot, it was like
but
probably
it's
like
it's positioning.
Positioning. It's positioning. So what I found too is that Dion is so open about his faith. I love it. It's like he's so real. And I found this to be true about a lot of people that really make it big in the marketing world.
Yes.
Big personalities. They are so divisive that you have to have an opinion. Grant Cardone is one of them. I was watching one of his videos back before he was the big GC and everybody knew him. I was watching one of his old videos, and he was saying that if I wanted to be the president of the United States, I would need 50% of the country to hate me. Now, I watched this video around the same time that there was election season between Trump and
what's that other person's name?
Biden. You know what I'm saying?
So
it's crazy, but it was like things were connecting for me because I was like, oh my gosh. Like obviously
polarizing to create
you create an opinion.
Either people hate you or they love you.
You have to feel something, but you're going to feel something. I'm going to elicit an emotion in you because of the personality that I am being and the persona that I create. He did that with his prime time in football. He's doing that now. And so he's true to his values, and he's calling out like, hey, I'm not hard to find, baby. Like
his sayings are being sold on shirts. I mean, they've already took his phrases and put them on shirts, and so the merch is going up, of course. Muhammad Ali was asked one time, they said, are you really the greatest of all time? And he laughed and he goes, no one could ever really answer that question. He says, I did that on purpose because he said, I knew that every night the seats were going to be filled with people who wanted to see me lose because they hated my guts and people who wanted to see me win. So it's marketing. He understood to have a compelling story by giving himself a moniker that would stand out with your business. What monikers are associated with you? What names are associated with you? What is associated with you? Do you even come up when there's a thought of a problem that needs to be solved? My wife loves Caribbean food, and one of our local entrepreneurs just launched recently, within the last 5 months, just launched a whole new restaurant theme. And my wife and I had some time, and we went to the new restaurant theme, and it was amazing. It was like this fusion. His other restaurant is a Caribbean restaurant, and it was beautiful to go to this fusion restaurant. I want to know the name and say it right, so I'll put it in the notes. But it was really, really good to go to a place because he had already had an association of that. My wife, when she went to college in the East Coast, and there was a lot of Caribbean individuals that are out there, so they have really good spots. And so she comes back to the Northwest and is like, man, I want to eat at a good Caribbean spot. She's gonna be picky on it because she's had really good Caribbean food. So that was that to me was, when we think of Caribbean food, we have an association of someone. For you, when it comes to, if you are a person that fixes mirrors, or you make custom mirrors or high-end designer mirrors, people think of you. Do people think of you? And if not, what can you do to change that? What are some moves you can make to start creating a compelling story?
Oh, okay. I've got a good one.
Go.
So I was watching a training literally this week, about how to create inbound leads using Facebook or social media. And so the guy, I mean, he was brilliant, I thought, because he laid it out super simply. So essentially, there's 3 things that you need to do to create inbound leads on social media platforms. And I'll tell you what it's not. It's not buy my product, buy my product, buy my product. Nobody cares. All right. At first, it's add value. So he's talking about get into the community groups that you're already in, that you're already a part of. If it's bicycling, if it's dog lovers community, whatever it is for you. These can just be people groups, stuff that you're a part of, or just like church groups, whatever. All right. You need to be around people somewhere. Add value. Okay. So he's talking about, like, if it's a bicycling group, hey, here's 10 tips on how to be a more efficient cyclist. Or here's 3 facts about how to brush your dog or make your dog go potty faster so that you can get on with your day. That would be a really great one. I'd love to get 3 tips on that. So you're adding value. And then, so adding value is number 1. You want to add value about 4 times more than you create an ask for yourself. All right. And we'll get to the ask. Number 1 is add value. Number 2 is creating a bridge. So you're adding value and then finding a way to create a bridge to what you do. All right. I'm in the real estate space. So I'd be like, hey, here's 3 tips. I found 3 tips on how to get your dog to go potty sooner in the morning so that you can start your day. And you know what? I'm so glad that I can get my dog to go potty sooner, because it allows me to get to work for my clients in the real estate space that much quicker. Like, I'm tired of waiting on my dogs to pee and poop for an hour. Like, I want them to do this in 20 minutes so I can get back to my clients in real estate and serve them. See, I just created a bridge. I talked about dogs because you're interested in dogs, but then I created a bridge and an association to what I do real time, right? And then, of course, the last one, which is the most, the one that everyone usually looks to, is making the ask. And that's like how you're going to advertise yourself and your services, et cetera, et cetera. But it's add value, create a bridge, and then go for the ask. But you want to be adding value 4 to 5 times more than you're actually creating an ask. And Deion Sanders, he has created so many associations. Football, like, you think about Deion, you think about football, you think about flashy.
Yes.
You got the gold chain. You think prime time. He's branded himself. Coaching,
and he's
mentorship, like fatherhood.
Yeah.
That's what I think of as well. Because he's got his kids on. He's putting his family on.
That's a huge part of his brand, is being a father.
And that, I would say, fatherhood and family is really the brand.
Yes.
And then football, chains, lifestyle is the associations that are tapped into. Deion is a family man. That's why I want to send my son to go get coached by Deion Sanders, because he's going to instill value and character into my child. And he's always talking about who he's looking for. Hey, I want someone smart. I want character.
Yes.
Oh, are you a dog? Oh, if you're a dog, then you're smart. You got character. You got the grades. If you don't got those things, I don't want them. I'm not hard to find, baby. You know what I'm saying? So Deion is family. So
development, right?
So it's the value
Come on.
that it's really the value. What's made him so attractive is he's been able to capitulate this value out into the world and then associate it through these channels. The medium is football, but the value is family. And so, what is that for you? What are you consistent on? What value? Because we connect with other people on values at the end of the day. That's what it really is. So, what is the value that you're communicating, or are you still in chameleon state? Have you chosen not to decide yet because you want to be a servant to all? Everybody's my customer. You haven't specialized yet. Maybe you don't know who you are yet or what you're about, and maybe that's got to be the thing you got to break through first before you start creating this crazy magnet. Because Dion is clear. Every person that is a big personality presents at minimum, they present a clear picture of who they represent, what values they have, and then their associations. Well, that's
true. It's not vague. It's not. We know his personality. We know he's outspoken. Yeah. We know he's gonna. I saw an excerpt of a practice, and they were. They all don't get a number on their jersey. They play without a number on their jersey till they earn their number. So you have to earn your number. And if there's multiple people that want a number, whoever is the best in that position as they play is going to be the one that gets it. So they're showing up to practice. He had his coaches that lost the challenge, so he made his coaches run. Right? Yeah. It's just different of the expectation level. So what expectation level are you modeling for yourself, for your business, for those that work on your teams? How are you building effective leaders, and how are you modeling effective leadership? And we'll go deep into that more in our we'll start doing, as we said, we have upcoming live trainings and whatnot to be able to flesh out these things for you. Yeah. But we want you to think in these terms of real leadership begins within. Leadership begins here. It's like, how are you leading through the gift that you have, leading through the way you serve, leading through your attitude, leading through your posture. So let's pivot and talk a bit. We're a little behind the gun today, have a lot going on, but we are, that 12 to 12:30 is what we are aiming and what we will be on. So I want to, since we're a little bit over 12:30, let's talk about how do you manage disappointments. Let's talk about how do you in business manage disappointments. And just we'll hit on a couple key things that people do, and so that they can bounce back.
This is super good. So I'll definitely say in my own business, I had a disappointment this morning. There's a deal that I was working on closing. I've been working on this deal for probably a good month, and it's just and it's probably going to be another month until I close this thing. And that was just mentally, I understand okay, this is the game. Sometimes things take longer than it takes. So that's number one, understanding that sometimes things take the time that they take. All right. So I can't put all my hopes and my dreams and my faith is in my Father. All right. That's my source. That's the first and foremost, because that knowing where my source is going to allow me to dissociate or detach from the current present, what's the word? The current thing. All right. So if all my hope is in that deal and I don't close that deal, well, now, of course, I'm going to be crushed. I'm going to be depressed, and emotionally, I'm going to be wrecked, but I want to be emotionally immovable. And for me to do that, my source, my anchor has to be in something that's immovable. And that thing is Jesus Christ. All right. So that's number one. That's what allows me to have an anchor so I can dissociate from my present reality and still be able to see, a positive and future that to come. All right. So that's the first thing, step one. But then I do have this PDS method, and I kind of discovered it in a coaching call. My coach, we were just talking about frameworks and such. And so it's pray, distance, solution. All right. For me, this is personal, but this is also business. Pray, distance, solution. So praying essentially is me acknowledging, okay, God, I see that you have you have an influence, a direct influence in my present reality. So I'm going to acknowledge you right now. And in that acknowledgement, it helps me to distance myself from the event, which for me, it was not closing this deal, not collecting this check. All right. Which will help me pay bills and do things I want to do. Right. So acknowledgement is the prayer. Distancing is saying, okay, this is an event. And now that I've distanced myself from it, all right, what you focus on grows. If my hand is right here, that's all you can see. All you can see is the problem. But if you distance yourself from the problem, it becomes smaller. And now you can look at it from different angles. Now I can learn from the mistake. The mistake that I made,
Wow.
all right, being super transparent, the mistake I made is I didn't get both decision makers on board before I presented my offer. All right. So that's the sales thing that it's a fundamental. I know it. I got excited. I got emotional. And I messed up. All right. I talked to one party. I didn't talk to the other party and together. And so I gave one of them the numbers. The other one wasn't quite fully on board. So now it's like, oh, we still need to think about it. And now we're not transacting because I didn't hear, okay, this is what you want. I need to hear what you want. So then I can figure out how to generate my offer so it's irresistible to both of you. So that way I can present it in a way where you can make a yes or no decision and we can move forward in the process. All right. But I messed up. I talked to one of them, got them on board, didn't get the other one on board. So now, but because I'm distance, right? I'm not here. I'm not, woe is me. All right. I didn't close the deal. I'm terrible. I'm a bad human being. I'm a bad business person. I'm going to beat myself up all day and lose 24 hours of my day. No, I don't have time for that. Okay. I'm a distance.
Ain't nobody
myself.
got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm praying. I'm like, okay, God, help me. I'm disappointed emotionally. This sucks. Like I was really looking forward to this. I did have hopes in this. I recognize that. Help me to figure this out. Okay. Hey, son, you know what? Boom, boom. You see that step? You missed that step. All right. So now, how can we not miss that step? Maybe we can create a checklist.
Next time.
Systems. All right, for next time. All right, now you've heard from the other party. Let's regroup, re-strategize, come back to them in a month and kill it. All right, so prayer, distance, and then the solution comes. And sometimes it doesn't come immediately, but eventually it does come. So that would be my PDS method. Just one of the ways to bounce back from disappointment.
I love it. I love it. There's a verse that I thought of that's in the scripture. It says in Zechariah, so that might be a little difficult to find. We'll put the name of it in there. But Zechariah 4:10 says, do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. And then he's talking specifically to an individual about what's going on and his plan for them. But in your business, in where you're at, don't despise small beginnings. Don't despise what seems like it's insignificant, because it is at least a beginning. It's a foundation. It's the most important part. So myself, he knows that one of my disappointments that I'm dealing with that affects my business is I have a piece of equipment, my laptop, that I'm currently on the quest to retrace all my steps and figure out where it's at. I'm going everywhere. I'm thinking of Lyft. I'm thinking of Uber. I'm thinking of Toro. I haven't even been in some of these services, and I'm calling them up like, have you seen? I mean, the Shine Lights had the song. Have you seen her? I need to name my laptop her name. But seriously, it was kind of discouraging because, people asked some of the steps that did I follow up and do, when at the time I thought it was wise to, not have certain things on can you find it? Did you turn on all the locate? No, I didn't, because I was just in a rush to get to where I was in a rush to get to. So I think about how I manage that, because there's a lot of things intertied into that. And so the mature thing is to manage my emotional state, right? To give it to God, to release it to God, and to say, all right, well, what do I do now? How do things still get done? How do I work around this? How do I learn so that next time this doesn't happen, right? What can I do? Also, how can I reframe this experience? Because if my goal is to see how, I want to be a great manager, I want to be a great steward, I want to be good at then how did I lose track of this? It shows that there was mismanagement. It shows that I wasn't. So this is an opportunity. This might be what sets it in motion to say, all right. And from that point, I leveled up, and I was making sure that I always had a process of where I put it away and what I did with it and how I took care of it and my checks and balances and how, I could locate and find and all these type of things. And I made sure to back up every file and put it on not only the cloud, but on a drive, and to have my own cloud, and to have, there's so many things that we can do. We're the variable in the equation that's unchanging. And so think about, instead of doing the immature thing, which is blame shifting, right? To, it's somebody else's fault. You guys shouldn't move my stuff around. If so many people wouldn't touch my things, this wouldn't happen. No, if I know what is mine and where it is at all times, then I can take ownership and responsibility. And no matter good or bad, once I take ownership and responsibility and I say, I need help to do better, I want to do better, I humble myself through this process because I have no desire to repeat this. I have a desire to learn from it, right? There's no losses, there's only lessons, right? The L is not a loss, it's a lesson.
Yeah.
So how are we learning from the mistake that we made so that we can pivot and we can reframe it and say, that was the day that I learned to always manage and keep track of my affairs. How do I teach my child that there's 5 areas that measure maturity that I see in scripture. And I hope this helps you as a business owner, because I know everybody has different backgrounds in our community. Some of you have faith and some of you don't, but we want to give principles that are helpful. Absolutely. And one of the things that I said, the 5 areas of responsibility that we measure for growth and maturity is our management of our thought life. So your conscience, every single person has a conscience that's in them. And the conscience is that GPS that helps navigate you into right and wrong. It's letting you know, no, I can't keep doing this. This is not good. I shouldn't be in this environment, shouldn't be engaged in this conversation, shouldn't be engaged in this activity. So that conscience is at work. Don't violate that conscience. Otherwise, there's a penalty for that comes, but that we feel the conviction, and it just separates us from who we are, separates us from our creator, all these things. So your conscience, there's the other area of managing your physical possessions. So material possessions, how are you managing? Like, what does your room look like? What does my computer look like, right? Where's it at? Clearly, I didn't pass that one this week. So managing your physical possessions, how are you? Are you able to give an account of it? Some of us don't even know what's in our possession. Some of us get happy when we find money in a pocket or something. We're like, oh, I found $200. And it's like, did you find it or did you really just lose it? You weren't managing it well. We're happy about it, right? I've got an extra $200. No, it wasn't an extra $200. That $200 was allocated to something, but you just didn't manage it well. So it is management of material, physical possessions. Next is your physical body. How are we managing this, that we're with the rest, the exercise, right? The making sure to not put this in dangerous situations. What are we putting in our body, and what are we allowing our body to engage in that can either be that can either prolong our life or shorten our life, right? So how do we manage this temple that we have, right? So you know, don't just ignore the signals that your body gives you. If you are eating things and it's not making you stop eating them, switch it, figure out how to upgrade. Oh, it's too expensive to eat healthy. Well, I'd rather do preventative than to do restoration. Is way more costly than prevention is.
Hey, and real talk, choose your heart.
That's good.
Everything in life is hard.
That's good.
You get to choose your heart. It's hard to go to the gym.
Yes.
And it's hard to pay $20,000 medical bill. Which hard do you want? It's hard to sacrifice not eating that food that you really like, that cake or the whatever dietary restrictions you have, and it's hard to have an inflated stomach and another $30,000 medical bill.
That's good.
Or maybe a shortened lifespan. I mean, let's get real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or something not working the way it's supposed to all of a sudden because we keep ignoring it. I can test it. I can attest to that. I have an example for each one of these areas, right? Right. The physical body, I have things that inflame my body, as everybody does. Inflammation is connected to sickness. And I kept ignoring and eating the things I was allergic to. And I lost my voice for 90 days. I had strep throat and laryngitis at the same time. So I lost my voice for 90 days. That was miserable. It was miserable to have to, it was so humbling. I have to use my phone and type up things and find a way to make it talk. Right? My children are acting up and they are almost teasing me because it's like, what's that, Dad? We can't hear you.
You said,
I'm pointing at things. This thing on my waist, right?
All right, we're at about a minute.
So this is the reality of where we're at, is how do you manage well? So I listed 3. I said your conscience, I said your physical possessions, I said your body, also how do you manage money, right? What are you doing with the money that is coming into your business? Do you have an accounting system? And do you have a stewardship system? And then the last is your relationships. How are we managing the relationships that you're in? Your employees, your team, yourself, your customers, your clients. How are you managing these connections. These are the keys to bouncing back from disappointment and now becoming effective in the way that we are managing our businesses and our lives. We hope this was very useful for you.
Yeah, please. Hey, so just to do a quick recap, we talked about reframing, okay? And please be a student of your experience. There's a lot of things that we've discussed, that a lot of gems that we dropped, a lot of principles we gave. It's really going to sink deep into your spirit and your subconscious if you take the time to invest in yourself and research further a lot of these principles. All the 5 things that Andre discussed in management, run this tape back, listen to them, and then do some research on each and every one of those. Do some research into reframing, okay? There's a quick story. All right, there's 2 sons of one man who was a drunk, all right? He drank nearly every day, and he beat them nearly every day. Both of these sons went out into the world. One of them became a drunk. He was homeless on the street, begging for bread every day, about 5 years after they both graduated from the same college at the same time. The other one, uber successful CEO, all right, like top of the food chain. You couldn't get any higher in power and family. He had it all. They were interviewed because they were an anomaly. And this journalist found both of these sons and said, how did you become where you are today? The homeless man said, it's because my father was a drunk. The CEO said, because my father was a drunk. The same thing happened to both of these sons, the same event, but they chose 2 different frames of references on how they were going to live the rest of their life based on that event. All right. When things happen in your life, you can say they're happening to me or it's happening for me. You have a choice. And it's that choice, it's that power of choice that was given to us by our Father that is going to determine how you move in your next step. If it's happening to you, you're going to be the victim, you're going to find somebody to blame, and you're going to be stuck on level 1.
Victim of change.
But the moment you become an owner, Andre discussed taking ownership. There's a book called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. I highly recommend it. The moment you take ownership for everything that's going on in your life, every problem, every miscommunication, is the moment that you'll be able to reframe your circumstance and move forward. All right. And that's truly how we're going to end up recovering and thriving after disappointment. Bouncing back from disappointment.
Come on.
Hey, Kimura.
Shout out to Kimura.
Shout out. Hey, appreciate you for tapping in and typing in. And
do every YouTubey thing you guys know to do. Even if you watch this on the replay, do all the YouTubey stuff you're supposed to do. Yeah, like us, subscribe us, heart us, share it out, let people know about what we're doing, because we want our community to thrive. We want our community.
Speaking of Thrive, we've got a Thrive event coming up at the end of this month. We highly recommend
30th.
September 30th. Come through, search Urban Impact. All right, my battery's getting low, so I'm gonna make this quick. Search Urban Impact Thrive. Okay, September 30th. You can buy tickets. Tickets are about $40. It's buy one get one free. So this is $20 for all you can eat. Like in Seattle, you're not getting any better deal, and we have quality food trucks coming through, big names, and they're going to feed you well. You're going to get to and there's some raffle tickets.
Come on.
Some of the tickets I saw in there were Seahawks game. There's some Kraken stuff in there, but I'm like, yo,
we don't want him to die, the computer to die.
All right.
Be there or be square.
Also, sign up for Thrive Principles coming in October 4th. And it's like the first 3 Wednesdays in October.
Hop on, sign up now. Go to our website. Shalom.
Blessings. Shalom.
What are you waiting for?